Over the last few years, Barcelona have been in the wilderness. For a club of their status, they have grossly underachieved. They went from winning 8 La Liga titles in 11 years to winning just 1 in 5. They suffered back-to-back group stage exits from the UEFA Champions League and have still not reached the semi-finals of the competition since 2019, when Lionel Messi was still at the club. Even when Messi was there, Barcelona suffered Champions League humiliation multiple times at the hands of AS Roma, Liverpool, PSG and Bayern Munich. And the entire fall-off could be traced back to years of horrible leadership, which involved corruption and financial carelessness, particularly the €370 million splurge on just 3 players in under 2 years. Those transfers alone set Barcelona back years, and they still have not recovered from all of it. For some time, this great club seemed to have lost its identity. Xavi came and tried to revive the team, and while he taught them how to win again, he just wasn't the long-term solution. He was only the forerunner of the savior to come. And well, it seems that that savior has indeed come in Hansi Flick. Flick had a vision for the Blaugranas from the very beginning, and it was evident in the way that he practically begged for the job. And just months into his reign, it seems like he is the one to restore Barcelona to old glory. How has he been able to get to this point so quickly? Well, Flick had a good CV before Barcelona. He had led Bayern Munich to the sextuple in his first year as coach there. He played ruthless football, and even Barcelona themselves felt his wrath, suffering an embarrassing 8-2 loss at his hands in the quarter-final of the Champions League in 2020. His time as Germany's head coach affected his reputation, but it was still clear that this was a top coach. That was not in doubt. But there was a big issue. He felt like a big deviation from the Barca way. You see, Barcelona have a habit of hiring natives or former players to coach the first team. Xavi, Pep, Cruyff, Valverde, Enrique, Villanova, Koeman, Rashak were all former players. The ones who didn't play for Barcelona were either Spanish, like Setien, or had an Ajax connection, because of the Cruyff philosophy, like Rijkaard and Van Gaal. But with Flick, there was no connection at all. He's not Spanish, never played for Barcelona, never even played in Spain, never previously coached in Spain. He doesn't even speak Spanish. The closest connection Flick had to Barcelona was just the fact that he'd previously worked with Lewandowski and Ter Stegen. And on top of all that, his style was different. Barcelona's philosophy involved short passes, building out from the back, holding the ball, dominating possession, and using as little physical exertion as possible. Flickball, on the other hand, is a little heavy metal. It is direct, fast-paced, and involves a lot of running. So, on the surface, Flick and Barcelona did not seem like a perfect match, but the German gaffer came in and showed us that there are a lot of similarities between Flickball and the Barca way. We'll tell you all about those similarities in a second, but if you're enjoying this video so far, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Now, if you watch Cruyff's total football and Pep's tiki-taka, you would see that they share so many similarities with Flick's style of play. All these philosophies involve dominating the opponent, shrinking the pitch using a high defense, strict positional awareness, a high level of discipline, intense pressing to try and win the ball back high up on the pitch, and an emphasis on teamwork. Also, like a true Barcelona man, Flick started trusting in youth from the very first day he stepped foot at the club. And when Flick took the job, it wasn't the most enticing one in Europe. He was faced with difficulties from the moment he took the Barcelona job, as the club is still going through financial difficulty. So he was unable to buy players, only bringing in Dani Olmo in the summer. But the already slim squad was made even slimmer, no thanks to injuries to major players. Araujo, Christensen, Marc Bernal and Captain Ter Stegen are all out for lengthy periods. Guys like Gavi, De Jong and Ansu Fati are just now returning from long-term injuries. And then you have Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, Eric Garcia and Dani Olmo, who picked up injuries during the season. But when you coach a club as big as Barcelona, that is still not an excuse. The pressure is still high, and you still have to deliver. And, well, Flick has shown that he can always make do. In the absence of the captain and the starting goalkeeper, he got Iñaki Peña ready to step up in no time. Apart from the huge saves he's been making, you can tell that he's being drilled to be a top sweeper keeper, which is very important to the way Flick wants this team to play. And in defense, despite being without 2 top centre-backs in Christensen and Araujo, he's still managed to form a top centre-back partnership between Inigo Martinez and Pau Cubarsí, who are on opposing ends of the age spectrum. spectrum. With this pairing, he has two guys who are strong, dominant in the air, and are good passers of the ball. And then, he's also managed to optimize Balde and Koundé as top attacking fullbacks. Flick has drilled this back four so well that they're now experts at keeping very high lines. They become so good at it that Barcelona are recorded to have caught opponents offside over 100 times this season alone. And we're not even halfway into the campaign yet. That's so crazy. In the midfield, Flick also showed that he could make do. When he came in, De Jong, Fermin and Gavi were unavailable due to injuries. Bernal tore his ACL very early in the season, and it took some time for Olmo to be registered. But none of this fazed him. He just brought Casado up from the academy, trusted him, and turned him into an absolute beast. He made Eric Garcia play the holding midfield role before his injury, and used Rafinha as the 10 while Olmo was unavailable. But whoever he used, he made sure that he had two sitting midfielders, and then one attacking midfielder who pretty much formed a front four with the attackers. You see, Flick demands control in the midfield, which is why he prioritizes technicians who are great in tight spaces, and will always dictate the tempo of the game, open passing lanes, and create chances for the attackers. Guys like Pedri, Olmo and De Jong are experts when it comes to this. And then you have Gavi, Casado and Fermin who combine high work and creativity. And you still have goals in this midfield in Fermin and Olmo, so it's all perfectly balanced. And it's mainly because of this midfield that Barcelona boasts the highest ball possession and most big chances created in La Liga this season. Pedri has the most accurate final third passes in the league. Frenkie is in the top 5 for most accurate passes among La Liga midfielders. Casado is in the top 5 for most assists by a midfielder, while Olmo is the midfielder with the best goal-to-game ratio in La Liga this season. But the scariest part of Flick's Barcelona is surely the attack. The German seems to be cooking something super dangerous with the front three of Yamal, Lewandowski and Rafinha. These are three players who belong in different age groups, but the connection they show on the pitch is just uncanny. Those three lead La Liga in every attacking stat that you can think of. The current top scorer is Lewandowski, and the current assist leaders are Yamal and Rafinha. Most successful dribbles, Yamal. Most big chances created, Rafinha and Yamal. Most key passes, Rafinha. We could go on and on, but you get the point. They are dominant. Thanks to this attack, Barcelona are the highest scoring team in Europe's top 5 leagues this season, and they've been able to blow away some of the best teams on the continent, beating Real Madrid and Bayern Munich with an aggregate scoreline of 8-1 in just 1 week. But how has Flick been able to achieve this? First, he profiled the front three perfectly. On the right, he has Yamal, a top technician, creator, and just a genius on the ball. He's brilliant at dribbling, creating huge chances, playing crossfield balls, and dictating play. And when you have a player like this, you need a runner to complement him, and that's exactly what Rafinha is. Rafinha has an insane work rate, and he's ready to run from minute 1 to minute 90. He's not the most technically gifted player, but he makes up for that with his athleticism. He is Barcelona's major outlet, and he's been playing that role perfectly, latching onto long balls from deep and converting most of the chances he gets. This is what helped him get a hat-trick against Bayern Munich. And with wingers like this, the icing on the cake is a selfless goal machine in centre forward, and that is exactly who Lewandowski is. A lot of times, he must act as a false 9 to pull the opposing centre-backs deep into the pitch and create space for the wingers to run into, and this was particularly very effective in the games against Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. But he's also super experienced and knows exactly how to get into space and convert chances. Lewandowski and Flick just go hand in hand. Last season, the Polish striker looked like he was finished, and Barcelona fans were even asking for him to leave the club. But under Flick, he looks 10 years younger, showing the form he showed when he tore Europe apart in 2020, also under Flick. Robert Lewandowski looks like he's on his way to the Pichichi, European Golden Shoe, and perhaps even the Ballon d'Or with the way he's been scoring at will. Also, one of the reasons Barcelona have become so threatening is the sharp transitional play that Flick has taught this team. Counter-attacking football is not exactly the Barcelona way, but Flick has managed to get this team playing just like that. And now, they're demons in transition, making the fewest touches possible between the first third and the final third. And One thing that has helped Flick excel so far is his flexibility and adaptability. Apart from being able to make do with whatever players are available, he's also shown that he's not too proud to change things when they're not working. During El Clasico, Barcelona didn't have the best first half, so Flick made a change at half-time and went on to score 4 in the second half. He also made switches in the second half of the game against Bayern to kill the threat from the Germans and preserve the lead. His in-game management is top-notch, and that's a very important characteristic of top coaches. And something that many have not noticed is how good Barcelona are at set pieces and crosses under Flick. That's another avenue from which the Blaugranas generate goals. Inigo Martinez has 2 Champions League goals thanks to this. Pablo Torre has scored a goal directly from a free kick. And of course, we can't forget that Lewandowski scored against Real Madrid from a pinpoint cross from Balde. These are just a few examples. So you might think you managed to box them, but then the crosses come in and boom, a goal. Hansi Flick has been able to get this team up to speed in such a short time, playing the exact type of direct high-tempo football he wants. He's properly drilled the players, and he's done it so well that even the non-starters can come off the bench and make a huge impact. Pablo Torre has 3 goals and an assist off the bench. Ferran has a goal and 2 assists before he picked up an injury. Fermin, who was injured at the beginning of the season, already has a goal and 2 assists. And even Pau Victor, who hardly plays, has a goal and an assist in La Liga. Everybody understands their role, and whenever they're called upon, they make sure to play it to perfection. But there's one huge concern. Because of how physically demanding Flick's style is, and how thin the squad is, people fear that the team will burn out before the end of the season, which might affect their ability to close out the campaign in the same fashion they started it. There's also the concern that at some point, teams will figure out how to avoid the offside trap, leaving Barcelona super exposed at the back. Yes, these are legitimate concerns, but then with a tactical mastermind like Hansi Flick at the helm, you can rest assured that if that time comes, he'll be able to evolve and remain dominant. But what do you think this team can achieve this season? Is another European treble possible? Who do you think can stop them in Europe? Could this be the start of another golden era for Barcelona? What levels could Hansi Flick reach as coach of Barcelona? Could he compete with, or maybe even surpass prime Barcelona under Pep Guardiola? So many questions, but tell us what you think in the comments. And speaking of prime Barcelona, we don't think folks know what that team was capable of. If you want to know how good prime Barcelona was, click this video and we'll tell you all about it.